Welcome to Singled Out, your ninth best gaming podcast. Please stand by.
Could be human crime. Closer comes the screaming night. This beautiful creature must die. This beautiful creature must die. A death for no reason, and death for no reason is murder. And the flesh you so fancifully fry is not succulent, tasty or kind. It's death for no reason, and death for no reason is murder. And the carp that you carve with a smile is murder. And the turkey you festively slide.
Hello, welcome to episode 138 of Singled Out. I'm Andrew, flying solo today. I am completely Steveless. With me today is the hat wearer himself, Niels Hermkens. Hello.
Hello, hello.
And once again, he is not wearing a hat for the podcast.
Oh, that's a blatant lie. I'm even wearing a top hat on top of my headphones.
Top hat in his coat. In fact, send a screenshot to the Discord because they want to see it.
Oh, yes, I'll do that.
Yeah, okay. So yes, Niels is here after a hard few months of rottering to talk about the butchers. We're going to continue the guilds in X minutes. It was meant to be guilds in 30 minutes. We then realised that none of them were that long. Most of them are longer than that. So we're going to go through the Butcher's Guild under Errata 4.6. Although they haven't changed that much for quite a while.
No, like it's been, yeah. The play style of them hasn't really changed.
I mean, yeah, the base playstyle hasn't changed like ever, really, has it? Obviously, they have had their peaks and troughs. I remember very well Season 2 Philip, for example.
Season 2 Philip, that was a monster. Oh,
Yeah. Then, of course, Season 4 Boar. So they've been through some peaks and troughs, but now I think they're in a fairly good place. So let's start off with sort of the overall overview. So how do you describe the Butcher's playstyle?
well, the Butcher's play style, I would say, can be just placed in a single word, and that word is murder. Efficient murder at that. Like, I would say that the thing that the Butchers are mainly doing is running at you and trying to just hit you with big red numbers as fast as they can.
So you say efficient. So what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, with efficient, they have loads of tech that can either make them faster or charge for less influence or make extra attacks or extra damage. You know, like they have all the tools to get in your face as fast as they can, then hit you with more efficiency than, let's say, if you were another BT guild.
So yes, how do they differ? So compared to other fighting guilds, for example, thinking of ones like the brewers, for example, farmers, other fighting guilds, how do they differ from those?
Well, the one thing that Butchers lack above all is control. They fully rely on getting a snowball going. They fully rely on trying to get their VP as fast as they can and trying to basically keep an activation advantage. The best thing that can happen to a Butcher's team is winning momentum and then at the start of a turn taking out a model, so they have activation advantage, having the last activation again for that turn, and they then just keep that momentum going. But yeah, like I said, the real downfall of them will be if you have enough control to slow them down, because when their snowball is not rolling, then it's a bit hard for them to keep up with the rest of the squads.
Yeah, and also I think it's probably fair to say that they are certainly a lot more fragile than some guilds that do fighting.
They're very fragile, yes.
I mean, their health numbers aren't insanely low, but they haven't got much in the way of great counterattacks, have they, for example? And no tough
No,
fight.
for sure. So most of the guild is also 1-inch melee. Their counterattacks, as you say, are not to be, they're not great. No, they fully rely on being aggressive. If they need to be defensive, then they're already just how do you say that in English? They have one foot in death's door.
One foot in the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, kill fast, kill often. Go for that sort of maybe 4 kills and a goal to seal the game, or maybe go 6 kills if you're feeling spicy.
Well, certain butcher teams really tend to do that, but they have loads of speed buffs as well, and you have speedy models. We're going to talk about them in a sec, but like speedy models like Shank, like Cinnamon, but of course they have some dedicated models with good kicks, like the Briskets, like Lane. They have a fast captain in Fillet, so there's ample chance to score a goal as well. So it's not weird for them to also go 2-2 whenever it suits them.
So should we go on to the sort of the 3 captains then and sort of look at them in a bit of depth in terms of what different playstyle they have, why you might pick one captain over the other, and sort of see how they sort of shape the guild differently, because they all like their murder, but they all approach it in a slightly different way. So let's start with the original boy, the poster child of the butchers, who was in the first sort of story, or the first chapter, the first story of Guild Ball.
Yes, I remember it well.
Yeah, exactly.
He did the chop.
He did the chop. Yes, exactly. Everyone's favourite axe-wielding bearded man, Ox.
Yes. So, if I were to put Ox in, let's say, a box, then basically that box would be his little aura of the owner. He is all about being in the midst of the fighting, getting that +1 damage buff onto all of his squaddies around him. So his playstyle is not spread out, but tightly packed into a neat murder ball. And he has all kinds of extra +1 damage buffs. Like if he gets his way, he himself can get +3 damage through his legendary, his trait, the owner, and butchery. And of course, -1 armor on They Ain't Tough, and -1 armor on Get 'em Lads, the legendary play. Like he just sets up his team for victory.
So you'd say in some ways he's probably the most resilient of the butcher captains. You say so because it's sort of 3 and 2.
For sure, 3 and 2, 17 HP.
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps him down is his 1-inch melee zone, but I think everybody's very happy that it's only a 1-inch melee zone.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be okay if you're 2-inch melee.
No, for sure not.
I guess unlike some people, he might want to go early in the turn, go in the middle of the scrum, set out his aura, maybe have the legendary turn, set out then turf or butchery, and sort of get stuck in early. Is that how you do anything, maybe?
Usually that's what Ox does. Yeah, go early in the turn, set up the rest of his squad for a great turn of activations. But in the legendary turn, usually he just 1-rounds a model because that's what he can do. He on his legendary turn he has Momentous 3 on column 1. That just kills people.
Yeah, I saw him a few weeks ago in a game. I saw him go into a fully entirely unhurt brick,
Mm,
I went to the brick, popped the legendary, hit him for there and tough, and there wasn't a brick there for very long.
nope.
and that and
He
that man's
falls
hard to
very
kill.
quickly. That man is hard to kill, but like with -2 armor and yourself having +2 damage, then things go fast.
So, would you always give Ox a full stack? You think?
No. Like, if he is able to one round the model, then yes. But mostly he is there to basically just debuff the opponent, maybe get a butchery out. But the influence, in the way that I would play him at least, is mostly spent on the squaddies. Because you want to really get the owner as efficient as possible. And if it's only on the single model, yeah. If it's only on the single model, then that one activation will be your turn. And it's better for Ox to spread the love, I would say.
So when do you pop the legendary? Sort of turn 2, I guess. Do you? When most of the mode's going to be happening.
Basically, whenever you think it's time to start the snowball, and whenever Ox thinks, okay, now I can take someone out, start of the turn, something that they haven't figured out. Like, if at the start of turn 2 someone is within 6 inches of him, yes, then it's a good idea.
So what does Ox hate? What sort of matchups does Ox not like to see?
Ox, like I said, he wants to play in a tight-knit ball. So if enemy teams are going to run around him, that's something he really dislikes. If people run at him, he is just the happiest of captains there is. And I would say if an opponent has loads of control, then like hard control, then it's going to be tough for him as well. Let's say if you have Obulus, say tell Ox to move 5 inches back with Puppet Master. Well, there goes your aura, and there goes all of the output of your guild. So that's just one type of control. But you will see this as a recurring theme. Control really dampens the output for Ox.
So I guess you talk about
For the butchers, I mean.
Oh, of course, yeah. So you talked about sort of models getting out of the way and sort of staying away from him. I guess that kind of brings us on to Philip, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, for sure. Philip. Oh, Philip. Season 2 Philip. Don't remind me.
She was a bit good.
Nah, she was a
bit good.
Big good.
A long time ago now.
Well, at this point, Philip is decent. Philip is quite strong. Fully based around a certain mechanic called the bleed condition. And yeah, let's say after the errata, there are quite a few models that can help Philip do her thing. Get bleed around on the opponent. She's a fast model. She really likes to just get in there, hunt all the other fast models down. And if the enemy the enemy team says, okay, we're going to still bunch up, then she just rains some blood, like the people listening to Slayer will say. Or she just hard buys a pain circle. Like, last activation filler is going to hurt because everybody's bleeding. At least one model has had loads of damage. You are going to most likely win momentum. She's going to go first. And then just kill another 2 models, or maybe even score a goal.
I guess the thing about Philip is that, yeah, she's fairly fragile because, defense 5 with, again, very poor counter-attacks. Almost no counter-attack at all, really, with one melee. So she gets knocked over, she's dead. But then again,
for sure.
When she comes back on the pitch again, she give me a threat from the onset. Like, she comes back on the pitch, maybe near fast ground, and if anyone nearby her, nearby the side of the pitch is injured, they're dead because she has quite the threat range coming back on the pitch. So you can very easily underestimate her, forget about her, and then suddenly you've lost a model again.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the best way of counteracting Philip is controlling her, and the best way of controlling her is having an easy knockdown on a 2-inch melee model. Like, Philip hates Tapper.
Oh, yeah,
That is just...
absolutely.
oh, man. Basically, any 2-inch melee model with a strong knockdown is basically just the bane of Philip. If your enemy team can play something like that, just don't play Philip.
Also, models with a good 2-inch push, right? Because her knockdown
Oh, for sure.
basically doesn't really exist. So
Yep.
basically, brewers in general.
Yep. Well, the thing that I see regularly is, you know what? They should give Philip a viable dodge, and I would say no. If you do that, she will just be
Kinda had
broken.
one in the past. It wasn't okay.
Yep. That wasn't okay.
We've been there before. I noticed looking at her card, bizarrely, she's a striker. Now, first of all, do you know what strikers are, being a butcher player?
Yeah, like butcher strikers, of course, are basically just fast models that kill people.
Yeah, they're just fast murderers. Tackle on 3 hits, which is attack 8, I guess. I mean, do you score many? I guess you could do quite a few times, score maybe six points with her one go, maybe do a kill and a goal. But you
Oh, for sure.
keep the ball back for yourself to give yourself more moving powers, I guess.
Well, the problem that she has is that tackle is not momentous, of course, but luckily all her dodges are with damage, and that makes them momentous. So, if you want to do a goal run with Philip, you can do it. It's not the best, but having her make 2/6 activations in a single game, that like is a very, very, very attainable game plan. Against certain guilds, that is.
So I guess we've established really that Philip's probably better against faster teams.
Yep.
Anything else you could boost up her own team's threat range. So if you want to hold her back to avoid her being killed by not the models, of course, she doesn't want to be anywhere near the scrum, does she? If anything else, she can sit back, do some pain circles, throw some bleed out, maybe quick foot someone, and
Yep,
sort of
for sure.
pick the right target, pick the sort of fragile characters at the back, pick support people, pick on your opponent's strikers, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So I guess the third one, and I guess is where the pies kind of bleed together a little bit, really. Oh, your hat's fallen off. Do you want to take a moment?
Yeah, my hat's fallen off.
The hat's off
That's-
now. Oh, dear.
That is what you get when you have a hat on top of your headset. It's not that stable.
The magic of radio. So boar. Now, to my non-butcher player eyes, I find it hard to explain to myself why I take boar over ox or vice versa, because to me both of them do roughly the same thing, and that's kill stuff. So, since you're more of an expert about butcher side than I am, what differentiates boar and ox in terms of where you take them?
So, the way I see it is boar is, of course, first of all, he's a 2-inch model. He has only 1 inch less on a charge than ox does. But of course, boar brings the fact that he's berserk, the fact that he has furious. So he basically, if he's able to charge, he just does 6 attacks. But the real thing that he does is give influence efficiency to the rest of the squad. He can make other models berserk, or at least at the start of other models' activations, they can choose to spend an influence to get berserk, which is very good on models that can hold 4 influence, of course, because the remaining 3 will just be 6 attacks. And if the legendary from boar is also used, they also have furious, so that is 8 attacks. Which is just humongous. Luckily, buying berserk is just once per turn, so you cannot give that to everybody. But now the question that you said is, what's the difference between taking ox and taking boar? Well, ox of course gives damage buffs, and boar gives influence efficiency buffs. So you hit harder with with ox on the team, but you hit more with boar on the team. So if you need to get through something that is hardy, like brewers or blacksmiths, then ox is your man. If you need to hit loads of times and get get loads of momentum to try and win the momentum race, then Boar is your friend. I would also say that where Ox is more of a debuffer of like everyone around him because of his auras, Boar is more single target because of stagger and singled out, only hitting one model.
So which one do you prefer? It's a personal thing.
Ooh, I would say that is a personal choice for everyone. But I would say that if you bring two captains, it'll either be Ox Fillet or Boar Fillet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Fillet you need for the speed, don't you? Really.
yeah, for sure.
I guess if you think you're playing into a lot of tough high teams or huge health pools, if you think that, I guess Ox is probably more likely. Especially versus tough
That
team again.
it's mostly the way you want to play. Like if you want to play with 1,000 cuts, you can still just play Boar into Brewers. It's perfectly fine. Like if you roll well, I think Boar is still able to just one round tapper. He needs a bit of help. But like maybe with a single tooled up, he'll get there.
Well, I guess you don't really want to use Boar's knockdown, do you? Because using Boar's knockdown takes away a berserk attack.
Yep, for sure.
So if you get knocked down first, that really makes a big difference.
Well, but this is a thing that basically every not only the butcher captains, but every butcher model has. If the opponent can disengage potentially, and you have to get that push or that knockdown instead of damage, that really just hurts the snowball.
Yeah, knockdown's not a massively common thing in butchers, is it really?
No. Like the I think like the Oxes have it, the Boars have it. There's a couple of other models, but if you're relying on them, yeah, it's either most likely roast or tenderizer, but that's for
Truffles.
like later. Truffles, yeah. We'll get there. Truffles
maybe,
is
yeah.
nowadays he's pretty good.
So we'll do the two mascots, and then we'll go into sort of highlights of the guild rather than every single model in
For
detail.
sure.
So let's go through the two mascots. We've got Princess Truffles. So Princess is kind of the original mascot, really.
Yep.
Truffles is
I would say
yeah.
I would say that the difference between Princess and Truffles is Princess is mainly a passive model. So you just stand there next to someone and she's just going to be very annoying. And if people stay there for too long, well, then Boiler comes along and they're not standing there anymore. And Truffles is way more active. You usually put some influence on Truffles and then he'll just come in and deliver a knockdown, deliver some damage. He can put that influence to good use. Princess regularly doesn't get any influence at all.
Yeah, I think Princess is more of a battery that the Truffles is. I guess
Yes.
Truffles can get a charge for influence, so I guess you could use the influence charge to try and get that knockdown. You know, you're looking at what attack 7 on the no more than that. Yeah, attack 7 on the charge to get 2 hits to try and get the knockdown, which is going to be a big deal for Truffles. And Truffles is quite hard to kill, being sturdy, tough-hide. You know, it's annoying to.
Yes, for sure. Like the one thing though is like people really just don't see that, but Truffles actually has the only momentous knockdown in the entire guild. So that's actually pretty big.
Yeah, of course, because even Tenderize hasn't got it, has he? He's got a non-momentous knockdown or 2.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess Princess. Yeah, I like Princess being passive, and yeah, you're right. You base Princess next to someone, and they have to run away, otherwise Boiler will murder them.
Yeah, and the thing is, they need to spend influence on either attacking and then dodging, or by buying just hard buying a dodge. Because if they run away from him, that is going to be a very strong parting blow because of Vicious. Because that'll be tag 8 at +1 damage. Well, it's not that like you often see him just doing 3 damage, sometimes even 4 on a parting blow.
And
3
with 4 from Ox is not hard to hit at all.
Oh no! And the fun thing here is if your opponent tries to get their dodge and they don't have it on 1 but on 2 and they just flub a bit, and they have to do damage to Princess, hey, your entire team is getting +1 attack because of loved creatures. Like Princess is just she, Princess of course, is just, I think, the most annoying model to put next to you. Next to another model.
You sort of dodge out of the way of them thinking, oh, it's not a problem, and suddenly you've lost a leg. And yeah, don't forget Love Creature. I've mentioned it quite a few times recently. Love Creature is not trivial. +1 attack across the whole team for the entire turn. You know, it's everything getting bonus time for free for the entire turn, effectively. So let's go into some real sort of star players of the Butchers then. So let's go sort of your sort of favourite sort of handful. Maybe, I mean, certainly when I build teams, I tend to have a few ones I always pick, then a few flex picks. I'm not sure whether you're the same or not. But do you have any sort of real core models you really like to take quite a lot?
Oh, for sure. I would say that there's a couple of models that are just excellent in dealing damage, and the one thing that the Butchers really want is dealing damage while they have a speedy model. So then we usually just get to Shank. Like Shank, 2-inch melee model, with 10-inch threat range without even using his Where'd They Go, 12-inch threat range if the enemy was already damaged. He has dodges everywhere on his playbook. You can even try and hard buy 1,000 cuts, or if you're lucky,
for 3.
It's expensive, but if you're lucky on a charge, you might even get it. But the added bonus for Shank is basically he has a 12-inch reach with a 6-inch kick, meaning he has an 18-inch threat range on goal. Like even there, like tackle on 3, not the greatest, of course. So Shank is one of, I think, the best output models for Butchers. So that's for sure one of my star models in the guild.
A bonus time tackle. So looking at attack 7 isn't too hard to hit 3. And also, I guess, with the owner being 6 inches and he's got 2-inch melee, it's a way of making that aura even larger, isn't it? Certainly things can be more than 8 inches away from him. I love Shank. I always fear him. I mean, I also like killing him because he dies really easily, right? Defense 4, no armor.
4-0, 14 boxes. Yeah. That's...
but again, like Philip, when he comes back on the pitch again, because he's got damage target as well,
he'll be there immediately.
He'll come back tear across half the pitch and murder someone. You can't ignore the guy.
You cannot. And because of the fact that he is Where'd They Go, because of he has dodges everywhere on his playbook, he's somewhat harder to control. And so the way you control Shank is just by killing him over and over and over again.
And I guess he can pick his fights, right? Because with his Bible dodge, he can, in theory at least, pick on models with 1-inch melee or with low hitboxes, or stay away from ones that are going to pound him to the ground. Because once he's knocked down, he's dead, for example.
Yep, and the one thing that he also really likes to do is just hunt models that just came back on the pitch. Because, of course, they are damaged, so he has a bigger threat range there. With his 2-inch melee, he usually just outranges those models that just came back. Hey, there you go. It might just be 2 VP extra right there.
So yeah, I think Shank's incredible. So other sort of core choices for you then.
Well, we've already talked about another core choice. That's Boiler, the little lad himself.
Amazing model.
Amazing model. Also, another little trivia. If I'm correct, I'm going to have a little check. He is the only non-striker, non-winger model. Oh wait, a Boiler is a winger. I never noticed that. Well, he has a momentous tackle. Look at that, momentous tackle.
Momentous tackle with anatomical as well, which is pretty.
With anatomical, so also a knockdown on 3 with anatomical.
Knockdown on 3 with anatomical isn't that hard to hit, to be honest.
No,
especially if one's timing it and everything else, it's not hard to hit at all.
A Boiler is he is a toolbox, and the fun fact is that his damage track goes 1, 2, X, 3, 4. Like it just goes up and up and up. So if you get some plus tack buffs, if you get some damage buffs on him, he basically just kills the world. He actually potentially, if you have Magical Christmas Land, Boar will outdamage any other model in the game.
Yeah. I also hate playing against him when first turn, like the kicking model boots the ball towards the butcher's front line, and Bordeaux throws an axe at their head, starting move, and straight
Yep.
away you're taking 3 from that and 3 from the bleed. So he can output damage very easily, and obviously bleed first turn is putting your shake off, especially if you're kicking.
Yep, and putting influence on him is never bad because,
No.
like, even if he can't get in range of an axe throw, he still has mark target to give all of his other squad mates 2 extra movement on the charge. Like, man, like he has it all. Boiler is such a toolbox, and I think if there is someone playing him not in his 12 or her 12, of course, they're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it on this Discord recently on YouTube. This is kind of a newbie fact, really, but anatomical is easy to forget how good it is. It's kind of like against a four defense model, like getting 2 more dice, because
Yep.
the armor and everything else. Subjecting 1 armor really swings his playbook and makes his assist from Princess or other models makes his playbook go on fire.
It really goes on fire. Like if you have assist from Princess, your 4 influence is most likely just going to be knockdown, 4 damage, 4 damage, 4 damage. And if you're lucky, knockdown 5, 5, 5, the model is dead.
And bleed.
And bleed. Like in the worst case scenario, it's 4, 4, 4 and bleed at the end of the turn, so it's still dead.
So other core models then, other sort of must-takes.
Other must-takes. Well, I myself would say that when you play Philip, then Meat Hook is also the way to go because being able to put Tooled Up onto Philip is just very strong, and having a momentous 1 on column 1 with tag 6 and having Hooked as a trait, meaning that when she damages, like Meat Hook damages another model, it gets bleed and snared. Man, like this is the setup model for Philip.
Yeah, defense debuff for her is for Butchers is huge. I guess with Tooled Up, you might not be able to pay the activation cost later on in the game if you want to go early doors with her. I guess turn 2 you maybe can do, or turn 1 especially.
Yeah, turn 1, it's basically you give her 1 for Tooled Up on the model that will be the missile. But afterwards, like she will go first, attack a couple of models for bleed and snared, put the heroic down for -4/-4, move on all those models that are now bleeding, and then afterwards just Philip just mops up.
Yeah, she's certainly improved over the years. Now she's got a better point of armor. Again, counterattacks, nothing worth talking about there. Scything Blow,
Nope.
I don't think I've ever seen her do it actually, because it's quite hard to hit for her.
Yeah, and the thing is, she's only a 1H melee,
Yeah.
so it's like,
So she should be credited out to do the Scything Blow.
yeah. So it's
worth
not
doing.
great. Like, if you get it, like Hooked being there is quite fun. Like maybe on a charge, if you have some extra dice, or if you're attacking into a knockdown model that already has some gang ups. You might get it, but it's not great because it's also non-momentous.
I even think, yeah, like even giving her 1 just to make her go into someone, make them snared and bleeding.
Yeah.
Early doors as a good sort of early turn piece, because being snared is scary, especially when things can hit you so hard.
Yep. Usually you just give her 1 or 3 if you want to, or 2 or 3 if you want to attack multiple people. Yeah.
Right, who's next?
Who's next? I would go to Cinnamon because
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon, the play up from the cooks. Another fast model, another model that has a movement buff, a +2/+2 move on everything around a single target within 2 inches of them. Man, it's amazing. Like pair that with something like mark target, or put this on what's his name? Put it on Shank and charge him into someone that's already damaged. man, like getting down. Like I said, butchers want to be in your face as fast as possible. Cinnamon just activates that.
So let's talk about Cinnamon. First of all, she has both anatomical and intimidation, meaning anyone against her is -1 defense and -1 armor.
Yep.
Although again, she will die fast. She's got 11 health with 5 defense, which is basically nothing. So she'll be far from the front lines ideally. But she seems so good for that movement sort of buff. Do you ever not take her?
That's a good question. Do you ever not take her? I think if you're going with a Ox team that wants to play tight knit, then you don't really need the extra speed.
I guess on first turn the speed buff's used up, isn't it?
But on first turn, yeah, then it's basically. If anyone would say I'm going to play Cinnamon in all my 6s, I'm not going to say them they're wrong. Like that is a valid entry point. Yeah. But also, like I myself would just say, if you're playing Vetboar, you should play Cinnamon as well, because Vetboar is a bit slowish. Speeding him up makes him very scary. And under that Chop Chop legendary turn, if you are able to give Cinnamon Furious and Berserk with -1 def and -1 armor, she'll just wreck face.
Yeah. Yes, sort of out of nowhere, this sort of fragile model suddenly kills people. I mean,
Yep.
we're on the Cook's train now, so let's talk about Roast. And to my eyes, Roast doesn't seem that great because defense 2 armor 0. He's got an interesting defensive tech and resilience as well, but to me, he appears to be a fairly easy stack of momentum to your opponent. Do you ever use him much? Am I wrong?
Well, Roast has one of. I would want to go like after Cinnamon. My favorite model would have been Roast because the thing is, yes, he can be a bit of a problem model. Like people, if they are able to get through resilience, he is just a momentum farming machine for the opponent. Of course, if they deal damage to him, Big Belly could be an issue. But if you're able to protect Roast and get him into a model, that model just evaporates, because having pushes everywhere is actually pretty strong, because Roast is then able to just he also has a reliable knockdown, so while dealing damage he also provides things for the scrum if you are in one. I would say that if you are able to play him and he doesn't die in 1 or 2 activations, so you should not play him into Brewers, you should not play him into Union, you should not play him into anything that can just casually one-round him. Other guilds have loads of trouble managing him. Like I've played him into Miners. That's actually pretty fun to do. Yeah. Yep. Like he deals damage, and in certain cases he just pushes people off the pitch. Yep.
Yeah, I guess a 2-inch push with him with the defense debuff and attack 6 isn't not too hard to hit 3 hits, is it?
Nope. And like this was actually the funniest thing ever. This is just a little anecdote. I was playing against a minor team, and I pushed the model to 1 inch of the edge of the pitch. Like I missed my last attack, and then the opponent was like, "Okay, I'm just going to stay here, attack."
Why?
And then attack to get rid of resilience, attack again to try and like get some dodges. And I was like, what are you doing? And then he missed. Like I think it was Spade. Yeah, it was Spade. Only get 1 result. Oh, I have to damage you. Okay, bye.
Oh no.
So, of course, this is just a fun anecdote, but I would say like the main bread and butter for Roast is just that one influence. Get it while it's hot. Give everybody 1 less influence to charge. Philip just loves him. And I would just say play him in Fillet, sometimes play him in Ox. I don't think he'll be good in Boar. In Boar, you really want movement buffs because Boar already brings you all the influence efficiency you need.
Do you risk with Fillet having a team with Fillet and three or four cheerleaders?
That's usually how you play Fillet.
Like 3 or 4 people get cheering her on, and she runs around like having all the buffs on her.
Yeah, he's basically usually it's Fillet and maybe one model that also does some things, but the other models will all just be cheerleaders, like buffing up Fillet and the other model.
I said I don't want to go through the whole guild we are doing now, but we'll see how it goes. We'll count until we get bored. So I guess looking at the veterans, because obviously there's 2 veterans in the guild you can't take with certain captains.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess since you mentioned Fillet just now, let's mention veteran Ox. So does he ever see play with you?
Veteran Ox. If I play Boar or Fillet, Ox is in there always. And why? That is basically just for 2 reasons. One, whirling chains, because if someone is able to put said 2-inch model with a knockdown against Fillet, Ox will just say, nah, get over here. Fillet, you're free to go.
Hard bite, do you? Hard bite, pull him over.
Yep. Yeah, and because of Lash Out, even when you're just giving him 2, he just pulls someone or multiple models 4 inches in, deals 3 damage to them, and he doesn't care because he's rowdy. He can't suffer crowding out penalties. And if you can also just do that in a Boar team. Like I said, Boar doesn't have the greatest of range, but Ox pulling people in might just give him the that little bit of threat increase that he needs. And of course, if you're able to get in with either Fillet or Boar, and someone is at like 1 or 2 HP at the end of a turn, Ox goes first. Hey, now you have the owner aura under Fillet or Boar.
Yeah, don't put a mascot near Ox.
Oh no,
because he'll kill them and give everyone prison damage for the turn. Don't do
I actually once played against a Falconers team with playing Fillet with Ox, and then the Falconers team basically said, "I'm just going to play in the back. I'm just not going to do anything." And Fillet said, "Quick foot on Ox. Ox just charges forward, deals some damage to Frelsey, steals the ball from someone else because he has a tackle on 2 with a 2-inch melee and tack 7.
Pretty good.
And then at the start of next turn, he killed Frelsey, scored a goal, and dodged backwards to get the old ways like the owner aura closer to Fillet.
What a pro!
Yeah, people always forget that scoring goals is still an option because you're so fast. You don't have to only kill stuff.
Also, it might be something that they're expecting less, right? In theory.
Yes. People are always just running their models away. They don't really think of protecting the ball.
I guess the other veteran, well, non-veteran in this case, is Boar. Now, I don't think Boar sees much play, but again, please tell me I'm wrong if I am wrong.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. It's Boar, of course, he hits like a freight train, but he where veteran Boar at least has 2 attacks, 2 influence after that, so basically 4 attacks through Berserk. If regular Boar needs to take the knockdown, well, that's only 2 attacks afterwards because, well, that's not really useful. But he's also only a 3/0. He is so easily controlled. His damage potential is pretty okay, but it's not all there. He's slow. I don't know. He just doesn't cut it. For me, at least, he doesn't cut it. If you are, I would say, if you play him, it will be under Ox because Ox wants to play tight knit, and then your area of playing is not big anyway. So then the slow movement of Boar might not be that big of an issue.
I guess you can use them late in the turn, maybe, to threaten a sort of a counter charge. Well, not counter charge, but you know what I mean. Charging someone else who engages you.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's fairly predictable threat ranges. It's fairly slow, isn't he? And he
Yeah.
will
So
create momentum as well.
I would say that if there would be in the future, like if there would be a change to Boar in the future, that column for concussion currently is non-momentous and doesn't have any damage. I think you will be able to make Boar a influence killing machine, and then give him like a nice niche identity if you put a 1 damage on top of that.
Please note, this is not a spoiler of any errata.
No, it's not a spoiler. This is just Hat's
know.
musings. This is just Hat's musings. But like Boar is an underused model, and I would say like if you do something like that, then he might see more play because then he gets an identity of being able to just potentially strip a captain model of all its influence.
He certainly needs something, absolutely.
Yep.
It's funny because when he first sort of see Boar as a new player, you think it's like terrifying, but once you play a few games, it's not scary at all, really, because it's so easy to control and predict what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's just like an 1/8-inch bubble where you just stay out of.
Yeah,
that's it.
Knock him over and it's sad.
Yeah, knock him over, use him knock him over, use him as a momentum farm. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
So let's talk goal scorers. So there's kind of 2 main sort of strikers. Because Vet Brisket is kind of anti-condition tech, isn't she, really? But we've got Prime Brisket and we've got Lane, who both kind of score goals. Do you take either one of those 2? Brisket in particular always seemed quite good because you score a goal with a turn 1 potentially, although you're giving the ball up, but you can get plus 1 influence for the rest of the game above the influence you get normally. But do you ever take both models at all, or either one of them, or do you go pure violence?
Well, usually I choose to receive the ball with Ox because he really likes to have the ball and I dictate the pace of play. But and then basically use the ball with teamwork actions to really like out of activation move his scrum closer to the opponent. But he if you are able to play against a opponent that you're not scared of having the ball, then score like receiving and then Brisket scoring at the end of the turn is a very valid play, because even if you do that, she afterwards, if she's not able to get the ball back, she just dirty knives opponents' models under the Ox aura. That's just those people will just die.
Well, a defense debuff as well. It's just so big a deal. You know, you can't shake it off. It's just there for the turn.
Yep, and of course she is against 1-inch melee models. At least she's perfectly safe because of unpredictable movement. So you get +2 influence and a potentially quite safe model that can help you with dirty knives get the kills that you need. I would say like under Ox she's perfectly viable. But if you really want to keep the ball, don't play Brisket.
Yeah, and often you do, right? Because the ball's such a big resource for you, for threat ranges and the like.
Yep.
So I guess Lane.
Lane, oh my boy! Like don't ask Henry. Don't ask a lot of people. Actually, all people will just say Lane is not that good. Lane, because he's a 4-0 with just 13 HP, he dies to a stiff breeze.
He does.
He does. Yeah, he does. Yes, but the fact that he has a tackle on all of his playbook results is just actually bonkers. If you look at it this way, Lane at column 1 has 1 damage, dodge, momentous, with a tackle, and +1/+0 kick. That's just one of the most bonkers column 1 results that you can get. And of course, he has a tackle double dodge on 2. He has a double tackle on 3 if you want to get through close control. He has a 3/8 kick. He gets a free acrobatic if he starts within 6 inches of Ox. He has close control to if your opponent wants to try and tackle the ball back after he's gotten it from them. Like I think he is the best that butchers can get if they want to have a super striker.
I mean, tackle double dodge on two hits is just ridiculous. But I guess the thing is, he will, after scored a goal, he will just get killed, right? Unless you're very careful with him. And also, even when it's not after the ball, you've got to be very conscious about where he is, because even chip damage is a scary thing for him, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like the thing is, Lane, because of his 8-inch 8-inch run, acrobatic. The thing is, if he dies, he's back in there quite fast. So what I usually do is turn 1, score something with Lane. Lane dies. Turn 2, turn 3, Lane gets back, scores another goal. That has happened to me so often, and people just underestimate the raw power that he has. Like if you have something like the put me back in coach card on turn 2, like
for him.
Man, and they like people are just going to jail Lane and not kill him. That's if people don't jail Lane there, they're making a big mistake. So yeah, the thing is that people always overlook as well that he still has momentous 2-on-2. So even if he's not going for a goal, he with some crowd outs, he can just still do 8 damage.
Well, that does mean it's probably near other people who want to hit him. Be careful where you put him, because of course you can crowd that out. But if it's in a scrum, good luck, Lane. Good luck.
True. Like he should never be in a scrum.
No, he shouldn't.
But the fact that he has momentous 2-on-2 basically means that if it's a scrum situation and the ball is out of reach, he can still just attribute to the fight.
So let's look at scrum. So if you're versus another fighty team, so if you're against, for example, you're against Brewers or Blacksmiths who like being in the mix, being in that scrum, how would you deal with that in a sort of game like that?
Well, the thing that Brewers really like to do is, of course, in the scrum, knock down a lot of people, push them around, get those gang ups going. So what you really want to do is not feed them loads of models at the same time. Like if you are playing like scrum against scrum, the Brewers will always win because they will have the better knockdowns and pushes. When you're playing against Blacksmiths, some of the masters there, the same thing. So the thing that you then want to do is attack on multiple fronts, I would say, or get tech in that pulls people out of their defensive bubbles. Like in that sense, Veteran Ox is very strong with his whirling chains. Or if some of their one of their models has overextended a bit, Vet Gutter with her new pick sticking is then also able to just pull new people in. You just want to try and dictate the game on your pace. You don't want to join them in a scrum. And I would just say let them come to you.
So I guess like with all scrums really, but you want to start the fight on your terms, and you can't throw a model forward unsupported, can you really? Like see some Brewer players throw Tapper forward and it might be alright, but like, you can't do that with Butchers.
Yeah, the one thing that you can do, and it might take a bit of setup, but the one thing that you can do to stop that kind of setup is one round a model that hasn't activated yet. If you're able to do that, then you're in a good position, I would say.
Oh, if you manage to kill, I mean, how often it's going to happen. If you manage to kill someone like Tapper before he activates, if you manage to get first, that's it.
Not Tapper, of course, but if you have Veteran Boar or Ox, they can one round Hooper.
Yeah.
And if you kill Hooper, Brewers are in trouble. Ox or Vet Boar or Princess, like Boiler with some help with Princess, they can just kill stuff like I would say apprentices, while even under Sentinel. Just if you are able to kill the big output models before they can activate, that's where you win.
So
It's
target
just getting through all of the defensive tech. Try to find the puzzle. Try to figure out the puzzle. Find your way around that.
So I guess the opposite. If you're against a team that wants to score a lot of goals, so go sort of 3-0 or 2-2.
Yep.
You're gonna lose the ball at least once to them. How do you sort of keep the ball safe, and how do you kind of beat that sort of team?
Well, if you are Steve, like I'm going to just cosplay Steve here right now. Steve would just say, you let them score the first goal while you have Tenderizer near the goal, so then they get a dead meat token. But then you put Tenderizer with the ball in the corner of the pitch, and then you just let them come to you.
That's exactly what you said last week.
Yep. So this is, I would say that if you're going to do something like that, you cannot and you should absolutely not just try and protect the ball close to your goal. If you do that, they don't, like the Butchers don't have enough defensive tech or don't have enough good defensive tech to protect them from the strongest of models that can retrieve balls. Let's say a Fathom, let's say a Vetsakana, let's say a Spade. If you do stuff like that, you're just getting scored on every time. So there's two things I would say that are viable options, and one is put him in a corner with Tenderizer, but that's boring. I would say be proactive. You have one of the fastest deals in the game. Why not bring the ball to their goal? Why not say, okay, you know what? I am very fast at killing people, and I know that a 2-2 game plan is faster than a 3-0 game plan. So yes, I will join you. But every time you kill a model, or every time you score a goal, I will kill a model and score a goal in that turn. So you have to score 3 goals in the turn, or in the time that I score 2 goals and kill 2 models. So I would say just try and beat them at their pace.
So it's a race.
Yep.
Really. And hope they don't get to 8 points. With the ball before you do, I guess.
Yeah. That's the tricky part. Like if you really actually just want to be able to at least get a kill and a goal back after they've scored their first goal, and when they score their second goal, you hope to have one of their models, also like a second model dead or a second model at least low life, to be able to get something like a 6-point activation going.
I guess where they place their striker after they've scored is fairly important.
Yep.
I often dodge my striker back towards the enemy's goalpost just to force the opponents to turn around, go back towards it.
And that's actually not that big of a problem for Butchers. At least it shouldn't be a big of a problem, because then you have a model to farm momentum off of and to kill, while one of your speedy models just goes off and also scores a goal. So then you're at 6 while they're at 4. Yes, they will go and be at 8, but then they've given you another model to beat up on, and you will have the ball. So you will go to 8 and you have the ball. Well, that should be 12, right?
That's maths.
Yes, quick maths.
Maths in Guild Ball. Okay. I think that's Butcher's pretty much done. I think really. I think we've gone through it all. Do you have any more pearls of wisdom to share with the class?
I would say one of the pills of wisdom we've quickly went over. Vet Brisket, you said like she's the anti-condition model with like field medic. She's not. That's a trap. You don't want to do that.
Oh.
So
I'm wrong.
The thing is, like, if you're wrong, because if Brisket wants to use field magic, she needs to deal damage, well, she's a striker model. She should try and get the ball and score goals, right? So why is she dealing damage? There are other models that are better at dealing damage.
So do you ever use Vet Brisket over Prime?
The only reason that I would use Vet Brisket is quick time. To pull Fillet away from a 2-inch with a knockdown, or to put Vet Boar a bit closer to their target. But that actually, for me, the only reason why I would play her, and that's not enough in my book.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a shame. Like the Vet Brisket is the brisket that I believe that Vet Brisket is the brisket that won the
Civil War.
Like it won the war against Fillet. So hey, like
it's also a great
we should
sculpt
give
as
her
well.
some love. It's a great sculpt, and also if you look at her artwork, she has this huge hatchet or something like that. Like that's not a
axe thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite long. That's not a 1-inch melee zone, is it?
Oh, I think it's melee actually. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Because she wouldn't be that abusable with it, but really would make it better in some respects.
And then suddenly that's it, right? Make her 2-inch melee. You don't really change anything else on the card, and suddenly she's quite interesting right there. So
yeah,
that's two things.
I don't think a breaker. It wouldn't break her.
No, so hey, like now we talked Boar, now we talked Vet Brisket. Two things that potentially are able to do something just by adding one thingy. Well, I hope, but at least I hope that this has given the community an idea of what Butchers is, how to counter Butchers, how to play them, and just like embrace the murder in themselves while playing them.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on. If you want to ask further questions or tell Niels how it's wrong, please go on to the Guild Ball Community Project and ask him about that on Discord. We'll do more of these soon, and thank you very much.
See you.